G'day and welcome back to the channel, Ginger Ninja's Movie Reviews. I am the Ginger Ninja and these are my movie reviews. If you're new to my channel, thank you very much for tuning in, stopping by and checking it out. It is truly appreciated. And of course, if you wouldn't mind, please do hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new to my channel, hey, might as well subscribe. Why not? Who's it going to hurt? Anyway. Before we get into the film, thank you to all my new and existing subscribers. I know I say it every week, but honestly, I truly mean it. I'm working my way towards 1,000 subs and we're getting close. So I do want to say a big thank you to all my subscribers. It truly means the world to me. Anyway, let's get into this thing because things are about to get a little hairy. That's right. We are looking at An American Werewolf in Paris from 1997. 1997. That was a big year for movies, eh? Anyway, this film was directed by Anthony Waller. I'm not sure what else he's done, but yeah, he did this. Anyway, the film stars Tomeverettscott, juliedelpy, Vince Viloff, hope I'm pronouncing that right, Phil Buckman, and Julie Bowen. So the plot involves an American man unwittingly getting involved with French werewolves who have developed a serum allowing them to transform at will. Now that is a plot directly from IMDb. It is a little bit more in depth with the whole serum thing, but we'll get into that in a bit. Now, I will say this, there will be spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen it, this one was on Tubi. Go check it out. But don't blame me if you don't like it. Anyway, reason why I say that, this is a spiritual sequel to the 1981 classic American Werewolf in London. And look, everyone, oh well, not everyone, but most people hold that in really high regard. So making a sequel, you know, what, 26 years later? You're treading on thin ice there. But they did it. And look, this film actually trades the eerie charm of its predecessor with a 90s vibe. And, you know, whether that's a good thing will depend on your expectations. If you've seen the original, you may not enjoy this. If you've only seen this, you may not enjoy the original because of they're very different films. And it does attempt to update the story of the werewolves and add in the modern special effects with a fresh coat of paint and whatnot. But unfortunately, the film, look, it often struggles to find a balance between its comedic and horror elements, which is very, very difficult to do. Like, it's very difficult to be a pure horror comedy. The ones that do it exceptionally well. The ones that don't, well. Anyway, we're looking at another film from 1997, a year which was actually full of creature features. We had Mimic. We also had Anaconda, which if you haven't, check out my review of that. It's the first one I did for Nothing But 90s. That was a fun one. But anyway, now we're heading to Paris with An American Werewolf.
Big bushy, Ginger Ninja on the prowl, smacking on pretenders with a salty caramel growl. 60-second flicks, reviews hotter than the sun. Sword master underwater battles never done. Vodka shot, steady hand, cold as ice. Critics in the crosshairs, he don't think twice. Movie scenes dissected, sliced with precision. Beard game strong, legendary vision. Ginger Ninja, bare royal pristine. Voice flashing waves, no denying he's a king. Salted caramel lessons, leaves him in awe. Movie review, assassin laying down law. Ginger Ninja, bare royal pristine. Voice slicing waves, no denying he's the king. Salted caramel essence, leaves him in awe. Movie review, assassin laying down law. Bare oil craft, ready for the fight. Where the sharks afflicts, he conquers the night. From silver screens to ocean depths below. Ginger Ninja reigns, that's all you gotta know. Bare oil stash glistening in the light. Mixed vodka with knowledge crafting in sight. Shark fin haters, they scatter per sight. Ginger Ninja's wisdom, looking dynamite. Legends we crafted from tales people tell. Salted caramel dreams in a vodka infused shell. 60 seconds flat, analyzing with flair. Ginger Ninja forever, ain't nobody compared.
All right, so let's dive straight into the cast. And look, Tomeverettscott. Now, I'd seen him in other things like Dead Man on Campus and more recently Z Nation. He brings a goofy, boyish charm to the role of Andy, but his character sometimes veers into generic, quirky American tourist territory. His motivations and the transformation of his character are wholly inadequate, and they're inadequately explored. Yeah, and it makes it hard to really connect with him emotionally as a character. Julie Delpy as Seraphine is intriguing but underutilized. Her character has a tragic backstory, and whilst we do touch on that briefly, the movie doesn't explore it enough to make you feel invested in her character. The supporting characters, including Andy's friends and the werewolf cult members, are pretty much forgettable. And they serve more as plot devices rather than fully fleshed out characters. And speaking of the werewolf cult, that does add an interesting twist, but it is completely underdeveloped. There was so much that they could have delved into. Their motivations and rituals are only lightly touched upon, and I felt it really left you wanting more substance out of it. Now onto the directing and the writing. And look, the original film, it struck a perfect balance between horror and dark comedy. This leans more towards slapstick humor and campy action. And even then, the film struggles to strike a balance between horror, action, and comedy. And it often shifts awkwardly between genres. And it's this inconsistency that diminishes the overall impact of the story as it progresses. And this also comes through with the writing, where characters are not given enough to be fully fleshed out and developed. Like I mentioned with the cast, there's a lot there, but it just wasn't delved into. What this feels like is more of a product of its time, and it definitely embraces the MTV aesthetic of the late 90s with a frantic pacing and a pulsing soundtrack. And I will say it does have some really good songs on the soundtrack. The direction, it's okay. It's nothing remarkable, but it's not terrible either. Unfortunately, it is hampered by a very poor script. Given more in-depth writing, I'm sure the director could have done a lot more with it. Now onto the effects. And look, the CGI werewolf transformations and creatures have not aged well. And they do pale in comparison to the groundbreaking practical effects of the original film. Now, I remember watching this back in 97, 98 and liking the CGI used. But now looking at it through a different lens, it actually looks rather awkward. The werewolves look almost too humanistic, and the green screen bungee jumping, it just looked bad. But I will give them credit for the physical effects that they used on Vince Vieluf. I'm bad with names, so I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Julie Bowen. As undead ghouls, they looked awesome, especially the scene where Julie Bowen is trying to get the attention of the werewolf cult, and blood pours out of one thing, her eyeball, which is CGI, popped out, but it looked fun. Yeah, the physical effects, top notch. Now on to rewatchability, and look, I'll be honest with you, this is not one that you would rewatch often. It's something to rewatch every so often, as there is a lot of fun to be had. Plus, Julie Delpy is topless in this, so you've got that. But look, overall, it hasn't held up too well over the years, and that can diminish your rewatchability. Look, it's been a long time since I have watched this, so maybe I'll go back to it in a few years. Now, overall, An American Werewolf in Paris is one of those films that works better if you approach it as a standalone campy werewolf flick, rather than a sequel to a beloved classic. It lacks the emotional weight, the sharp humour, and groundbreaking visuals of An American Werewolf in London. But it has moments of cheesy fun. So if you're in the mood for a light-hearted, action-heavy-ish 90s horror comedy with a splash of nostalgia, it might scratch that itch. Overall, though, for a score, I would give it a 4 out of 10. And there you have it. That is my review of An American Werewolf in Paris. Have you seen this film? Let me know what you thought of it down below, because, like I said, I do get some enjoyment out of this film, but overall, it's just not one that I will go back and watch repeatedly. Like, it's missing a lot of elements that would have made it an amazing film. You know, if it had those elements, the character development, in depth, if they explored the story more about the werewolves, the cult, juliedelpy, Seraphine, her character, yeah, definitely would have been so much better. Anyway, that's my review. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please do hit that thumbs up button. It'd be much appreciated. And of course, subscribe to my channel. You've made it this far through, you might as well hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every time I do release a new review, hit that notification bell. Obviously, we are coming to the end of Nothing But 90s November. So what are we going to be doing next month? Well, next month is Christmas, so I'll be heading into the Christmas period. We're spreading a bit of Christmas cheer with some Christmas movies, and yeah, I got some good ones lined up. So check it out. Anyway, I've still got another week to go. I'll give you more details later, but thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.
Pretenders with the something cow now growl.